Hey, fellow traders. Welcome back, all current subscribers and concurrent viewers, and welcome all new viewers. And if you find what you see useful in this video or in some of my channels, consider subscribing. I appreciate those who have been with me since the beginning and have been through all these little ups and downs, ins and outs of being away from the videos, and I just kind of want to get back into it. So for number 2, and being back to it, I kind of want to give a shout out to David Emmanuel 2444 for sparking the inspiration behind this video. For the last probably couple years or so, I've kind of had this theory and kind of been viewing the market in this way, and the comment made in the last video kind of helped me understand maybe what some people could be thinking or seeing this as, or trying to constrain it to or define it as. So I've kind of come up with an interesting way to kind of break free from all of the common trains of thought and just really help you out with all of the different things that are being taught and why so many of them are just not worth your time. So what I've got here is a performance tracker calculator. It's one I've created, talked about in one of my previous videos. We're going to use that today as we go through this sort of scientific experiment. Excuse me, I'm still kind of getting over a cold. So excuse me if I sniffle or cough a little bit. I'm still working through that and had spent a good majority of the time working today. So one of the conditions is already met, that I'm not in the greatest of shape or feeling. So the fact that what you have to, the way you feel isn't really so much to do with it. But I'm going to use the same as what we had in the last example for this. I'm going to use $1,000, and I'm going to scroll down and show that everything is set up and empty. I'm going to charge myself $6.50 commission plus whatever spread we have to accept. So I've already kind of preset the risk at $50 per trade, and we've got blank charts, blank P&L, and blank record so far. So let's go ahead and go and look at some of the notes. Just like last time, we're going to have a bedtime and a wake time. We're not going to trade in the middle of the night. And the rules for this particular setup is going to be a random instrument. We're going to randomize the time. We're going to take a trade, and then we're going to look for another random instrument. Go to a random time, make another trade. And we're going to do this multiple times over. And basically, our task is to mark levels, observe price, and you kind of got to look at price as sort of like a rope, or what I feel like might be a good example is like the snake in the snake game. So like every new tick, the snake gets longer, so it's not really time frame constrained. It's more of a continuous flow of motion. Excuse me. And then basically the next part of our job after we mark our levels and observe basically the overall view, where are we coming from, where do we think or where do we want to guess that it might be going, and what is it actually doing right this moment, right now, this very instant, time of day, time, exactly when we're looking at it. We're going to risk the $50 max, and we're going to use basically the support and resistance kind of basic level. We're just looking for a bounce off of support or resistance, and I've got a few different videos talking about ways to identify this objectively, ways to look for it and spot it no matter what time frame you're looking at, because price is an overall motion, not time frame limited. And it kind of looks the same all the time, so it's fairly easy to spot. So check that video out. I'll try to make sure I remember to put a card in for this, so you can check that video out. But that means we're just going to enter near one of those predetermined or likely area of support and resistance, and we're just going to hope to catch a bounce. Now, the way we're going to handle the trade is if the level breaks, we're going to cut the loss. Otherwise, we're just going to hang on to it and let it go. And then we're going to spot for the next level. And then our target is kind of optional. Our stop is always going to be set at $50, but I would recommend market execution and interaction or intervention. So if it's in profit, you're going to choose when you want to take that profit. And if it's not going right, we are going to intervene and cut the trade loose. We're going to do this all with market orders. Now, the theory is that it's not a matter of market situation, luck, instrumentation, setups, patterns, strategies, or otherwise specific set of rules attached to candles, charts, indicators, leverage, account balance, percentages, feelings of self, market predictability, quote unquote, Fibonacci, channels, trend lines, price actions, so-called news, quote unquote, momentum, timeframes, or even skill itself. Yes, I said it, skill itself. It is simply a matter of statistics. And it's just elementary, my dear Watson. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you and try to prove in this video, that it's all about the average over time. You don't get caught up one trade to the next. One trade does not affect the next, and it's not one trade makes or breaks the account. It's about staying repetitive, doing the same boring thing over and over and over again. That's very simple. That's very repeatable, no matter what you're trading, no matter what you're looking at, because all we ever need is a chart. So let's go ahead and get into the trading. I've got random.org pulled up. We are going to work with the 25 Forex pairs. And it says number 8. So what I have is a list of all the pairs. And we are going to do pair number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I apologize, there is no light mode on Google. Apologies for that. I'll try to stay on that as limited as possible. So I have the 5 minute. That's just simply so I can control the replay speed. So we're going to let 5 minutes of action play at a time. It has nothing to do with patterns. Nothing to do with what's happening on this time frame. Time frame is just a summary of what price has been doing over X number of time that you can see in this window. That's it. Not candles, no. I don't use any indicators because the indicators are made from the chart, and the chart's already telling me exactly what the indicator is going to tell me. There's no point. Absolutely no point. They're both saying the exact same thing, so all you have to look at is one thing. So we are going to use, it has to be classified as an indicator, but we are going to use the calculator to determine our size. We can also do this in the sheet, I believe, but I'm going to have this up just to double check because I do know it is extremely accurate for the most part. There are minor delays here and there, but it has not steered me wrong to this day. So I'm going to just set that up real quick, set up the way it looks. Going to have our account balance on there. We're using a USD account, and we are going to be doing a fixed amount of $50 US. We are going to agree we understand the risks and the fact that we must understand what we're trading to get some numbers. Calculation mode will be set to automatic. It will automatically give us our size and our risk allotment for an adjustment of what we're doing. It tells us the pip value. We're looking at a maximum stop of about 47 to 48. On some pairs, the pip value could change. It's not really that important. All we want to know is what size do we need to risk $50 or close to. And typically I would say just pick a size, risk a set amount, and stick with that size for a while until you grow. But we're going to be changing instrument, so we'll have to kind of figure our size a little bit. This will kind of save us a little bit of time here because it's going to automatically convert, and we'll just mark our trades out in the back play and figure how many pips up or down and use this pip value and chart, and we'll account our profit and loss accurately. So we'll do a poor man's back testing kind of method too as well. So if you're not looking to buy back testing software, which you really don't too much need to, it's good to have, and if you do, I'd recommend getting a good quality one, but I'm not selling you anything. You don't have to get anything. Just use the simple free stuff. Save your money for the market or your bills. So let's go ahead and hit replay. Doing Euro AUD first. So I am going to hit random bar. We're going to size our chart. Now, our first job is to simply spot the levels. And on the video that I showed you, there's kind of one particular thing I really look for first, and that's wicks off candles and sharp moves, sharp rejections. So this would be considered a wick area on a higher time frame, so that would be a strong wick. So let's go ahead and mark out some horizontal levels. I would say probably something right about there. Actually kind of lines up a little bit cleaner with what we're looking for. Strong peak rejection there. Got what looks to be pretty key in this area right here, lining up pretty well. And I would go as far as to say here. So right now our price is here. We were kind of grinding along sideways, but we're kind of slowly dipping down, but we're kind of just for the most part going up and down. So what I'm going to do is make our vertical line for our bedtime before I forget, and our wake time. We have to be asleep at 700 hours UTC. I should probably zoom in a little bit to make that easier. Okay, get in there a little closer. And I have to kind of set this up every pair, unfortunately, so it may be a little bit longer video than usual, but it will kind of dispel some of these common misconceptions as to what exactly is going on in regards to it will not. So it was telling us, I think it was a 12 that we had to have, 1200. So I may have to use this chart after all. Okay, so we are on Euro AUD. That is a 5 decimal. Which most are, so we are looking at a 0.14, so it was a little bit off. So 0.14 will be our size for this trade, and I'm going to wait for price to come down to this level here, because it has bounced and rejected upwards multiple times. It's pretty consistent. We've had our reach past it a little bit here and there, and it just kind of lines up overall cleanly. Now we have solid rejections down here, so I'm going to be looking to basically trade this range. We had a rejection off of here later. If price doesn't completely come down and goes up, I may wait a second to see if it breaks by and comes back down. If it does either one, if that does look like that level may hold, I may guess long from there, or wait for here and just guess long from there. But I'm thinking overall, we're going to try a long trade here. So let's take it forward. And I'll use the long shorts. Let's stick this in here. And we need we're going to be risking about probably 50 pips or so. Let me see, where's the... There it is. I'll just use it that way. Target I'm going to leave open for now, and we'll get a little bit smoother as we get in a routine of this. So let's try and wait until price gets down. So there we go. We have the entry, and we're just now price is now rejecting upwards. Now what I mean by looking at this level, we're looking at where we entered our trade. If price starts to go below here and below this level, we want to close it out. But if it kind of goes below and pulls back up, keeps going and bouncing around, but eventually is pushing up, we're just going to hang on to it and let it run. So let's go ahead and continue moving. And it looks like we might be failing down pretty hard. So for this one here, might do one more candle to see if it snaps back up. It's starting to snap back up, so I'm going to hold. Probably not such a good idea. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that one. And we are 27.6 pips down. So let's see how we're gonna figure this. 27.6 pips. Here we go. This is how I do it. 27.6. And we lose 26.37. So we have a loss right out of the gate. All right. Now let's go and pick our next pair. Generate 14. So that was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. GBP AUD. So we're looking at, in the replay part, get out of that. Now we're looking at the same thing, a 0.14. So we have the same setup. Not really too much looking at profit part. And let's go to replay mode, random bar. And let's see, what time is it now? 20. So we have to do the vertical line at 7. Just in case. I'll move it back there. Okay. And it looks like we're starting to bounce up. Let's find our levels and see exactly we were coming down. So what we might look at here for a level, I'm going to do it right there. And we don't really have too much of a clear indication. Let's do right there. I still don't really have, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like we're actually at a level now. Right, so we're coming down, but we're now starting to push up hard and getting back above this level here. Tried to get below it, but coming back up, so long from here. Boom. And we're gonna go our 50 pips, roughly, because that will generally work in most cases, but there are some that will not, and we'll hopefully run into one of those and approach. And it's actually come down pretty far, so we'll see if it doesn't come back up quite a bit. Right, so we have our trade already got down. And we got to wait through that. Pre-market open. So now the spread has collapsed back in. Market is open. 430. And it's staying above, climbing up. So we're just going to hold. Still climbing up. Bouncing again. Let's go ahead and move that along. And notice how we're still kind of just moving up, so we'll hold the trade. And it looks like we must go to bed, so we have to rely on our stop. get up at about 10. Okay. No, it couldn't have been 10. It was 14. 14. Sorry, we're going to sleep 7 hours. And then we'll look at the chart once we get up. Because most people have jobs and they have to go to work. Yeah, right now it still looks pretty good for us, so we're just going to hang on a little bit. Kind of not moving a whole lot. But it is still in our favor, so we'll just hang on to it. We already have our loss recovered from the last trade. And we're going to try to see if we can get a little bit better than that. So we may have to swing trade a little bit. The market doesn't go straight in a direction all the time. Not sure if there's any news or anything like that. So let's see. Do we potentially have an issue? We might have something kind of in the middle here. Because I noticed price is kind of struggling to get up there. It didn't really take off too much or go anywhere through the New York session. It is the GBP, so if we look, we would more or less have to look at London session for this. So let's see, London's at 12 when we should be sleeping. We didn't have too much last night. Let's see, what do we want to do tonight? I think I'm going to set a target here on this level. Probably bring it down just a hair. Where are we at? About 75 pips in there, and I'm going to let this go. And we need to set this back on our bedtime. And it is about to be our bedtime again, so let's just play it through and see if we get a nice good morning. May not work in our favor, it may not. Yeah, looks like we're still moving up, so we'll just let it ride in the morning as we get up, and bam, there's our target. So for that, we had a 75 pip gain, and we are trading the GBP AUD. It was still going in our favor. There was no reason to close it. It took a couple of days to play through, but it worked out. AUDGBP, I think is what it was, wasn't it? Not that one. GBP AUD. I got no wonder it looks negative. Okay, now we get it going in the right direction. What in the world? That makes no sense. That was saying 0.25. But, oh, that's why. Set that back. Actually, we did 75. We'll use that one to determine our win or loss. Actually, no, it won't. It won't count commissions the right way. So 48.69 is what we won. Target value, nope. Target value with commission was 70.76. Okay, so now we have a 50-50, but we won way more than what we lost so far. And we had a 0.14 again on that one. And so far, our performance indication is looking good. We lost a little bit at first, but now we're right back above. And our overall account is at 1,042.57. So let's go back and put on another trade. 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Euro GBP. Okay, and turn that off. And in order for me to memorize all these, I'd have to memorize every single pair. So There's no memory unless we get to the Euro USD. And in which case, I think we should skip it because I observe that one pretty much every single day. So let's see here. Which pair are we working? Euro GBP. Okay, and this one says we need to risk a 0.07. Why? Calculator knows what it's talking about, I guess. So we're looking at a 0.07 for this trade. Go ahead and stick that in there. Yeah, okay. Oop. So now we are set up. Let's go ahead and do our job. Alright, so we are zoomed out, looking in. And let's take a look here. Stop moving. I'm doing money crap. We had a strong drop-off, sell-off from here. So I would imagine, especially when we held there for a second, that's probably going to be a pretty decent little holding spot. Yep, it was, but we might want to look at it like that. Or let me see. Hold on. Let me look at this a little bit. Because that, you usually want to start near with some type of bottom or near bottom. That was definitely, no. We're just going to mark it there. That's an error. That's definitely it. Now we're going to start there. And where are we next? Let's go here. Because it looks like I would be seeing that as support. I don't really see a very common line in the middle here. So it looks like we have a range to work with. And I would wait and go long again, just off the bottom of this area. It looks like overall we are kind of hitting a bottom from a pullback down and up and down. So we're on the downward side a little bit. Been going down now sideways. So that's usually the shift before the change in direction that typically happens in every single move. Notice it makes a quick candle up, or a quick move up in a short amount of time, rather. And then it kind of stalls and stays there for a moment, and then sharply in another direction. So usually that slowdown is a good indication of why you may want to go and opt for your market entries. So right now I believe notice how it's pushed up hard. Now it's kind of slowed down. Let's see if it'll come down to here and grab a long entry from here. Somewhere in that little area there. And we are going to set up we'll do the same 50 in this case because 380, yeah, it's not quite one of those exception pairs. We may just do one anyway here in a moment, but I have the entry set here. And we're going to see if we can grab a long entry, guessing long off this level. And it's what I would opt to do if I was watching it, to take a manual entry. So let's mark and play. At the end of a day as well. So we may have to wait to see where our entry ends up coming. Let's see, what do we got? This is a fairly slow pair. Let's make a modification. Because that's quite large. We've only got, let's do some measuring here. We've got, that's 40 pips. We might be okay. We might be okay, but that might not give us too much out of this. Just my theory, we may be in this trade for a duration as well. educated guess. Just based on the overall of what it's looking at and looking like. So this could be more of a mildly moving pair. See if we grab the entry, I would be definitely grabbing that. I think even if we had to grab it there because we weren't paying attention, we'll just give it that benefit of the doubt. I want to get it at or near that level. And we're going to hold and see if it comes back. Not quite going in our favor, but it did actually bounce up pretty hard earlier. Towards the end of the day. Don't know if we want to hang on or not. We may just opt to take a smaller win off of this one. Or we could just opt to hold for a moment. And what time we entered that was before our bedtime. We actually entered that right at the Tokyo Open. Try to save a little time. I won't repeatedly draw lines on this one. It does look a little bit slower. Ah, that looks like a nice move in our favor. Starting to move up and staying above the level, so that's what I mean by sometimes you may just have to hold and wait and see. We could have opted to take the small loss, but knowing what we saw, looking at where it came from, looking at the overall, that's why I opted to not exactly jump ship just because it went below the level. But I am starting to kind of think maybe this is possibly our target. We may have to go a little bit shorter on this one. No worries. We're looking to actually come out somewhere in this area here, which is well below our maximum risk limit. We probably could have opted to trade a little bit larger size on it to make a smaller window to trade in, but you want to give yourself some room to think and look and just sometimes give price a little bit of time to continue doing what it's going to do. Because it doesn't always just jump. This is just a few minutes out of hours. Out of hours. Out of hours. Out of hours. A few minutes. A few minutes. So sometimes you just have to wait for price to sit and just kind of do its thing for a minute and kind of gradually work its way that way. And now I don't know if we're going to be holding up as well. Let's see where we are at time here. So we are awake at this point. And looks like we must have had a major news event happening there. That caused a lot of people to jump in possibly and move. Market is going to move every time a trade takes place. So if it makes a large move, a lot of traders made the decision to make a trade at that point in time. And the reason why predictability is such a bad thing is because simply you have to figure out what 8 billion people in the world are thinking, and out of those 8 billion, how many are traders and how many are looking at this chart and how many are placing trades at that very specific moment. This is why trading can never be predictable, because you have to analyze 8 billion thoughts, create a potential of what they want to do, and then you have to calculate that out into an output, and that has to change every single second. That is impossible even for a modern supercomputer, quantum computer to even figure out. They are fast, but that is too much information to make it predictable. So that is why it's up to statistics. It's 50-50. Sometimes you're going to get some really bad runs. Sometimes you're going to get some really good runs. But overall, if you're doing in like a show, you will make money because it's the average over time. Here, I'm cutting out at 13.3 pips. It looks like we're still kind of falling down. So 13.3 as the loss is going in our chart. And we lost 12.39. With commission 12.85. Boo-hoo. Okay. So notice trades are not related, and look, we are still profitable, we are still positive, and we are going to take another trade. 8, we did that one already. 3. AUD JPY. Close the replay mode. AUD JPY. Figure out our size real quick. We are going with, if we're going that big, this is probably one of those. I think this might be because of 3 decimal pair. Yes, 3 decimal pair. Let's get the right calculation. That's a little bit better. 0.14. Okay. So we're going to be trading at 0.14 on this one. Our account right now is at 1,028. After a few trades, we've already probably been through a couple of weeks. Our lowest balance from the start, from that loss, was just 97.72. Largest win so far, 70.76. Largest loss, 26.37. And we are starting to develop averages now. So our average win, not really quite relevant yet, but this average loss versus average win, this is where our money is going to be made. So as long as that is better than 1-to-1, your expectancy should always remain positive. And that's how you make money. That's where your money actually comes from. Not all these other things, not, all the things I listed out in the beginning. So let's go ahead and take our trade. Going to do it the same way. We're just going to simply do our job. Okay, let's take a look. We are moving down. Got a strong bounce up and rejection. So let's go ahead and say, I like these pin bars. They're usually fairly reliable as indicating levels. Let's go ahead and stop that and move back and take a look and see if we can get anything else that confirms with it. Probably not, because I don't have the super expensive plan. I just have the basic. So we got something here, another wick, and that lines up fairly well. So let's see if we can use anything else. Nothing really below us that's kind of relevant, I'd say. Let me take a look at something real quick. Okay, so this is not... Hold on. We're going 50 pips. That's not very far, is it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Not really. Not really. So on this one here, we may have to adjust a little bit. We're looking at 162. We may have to go about... Let's do something like 150. Do 140. Trade at 0.05. Because we have just looking at the overall movement and kind of making a basis for that. So we're going to go 150 pips or so with this. And I would think it's probably going to still come down. Can we even? No, I would think that's pretty well defined. That's probably another one there. So that's probably fairly well defined, I would say. If you were looking at an intermediate level, it would probably be somewhere right in here. But I think looking based off strong reactions, that is probably going to be where it lines up. We don't really may not need this level, but let's see. I'm thinking it may very well, because it was moving up for a while, went sideways, come down and push back down, but now we've stalled and kind of went sideways again. We had the strong reaction up. Just going to take along here. Just if price reaches down below, if it does sort of reach up, I may wait for it to get around this level here, and I will place a horizontal ray so we can mark that as well. So if price does not come down but drifts up slowly, I may opt to actually take my entry here. And it doesn't look like, other than this one candle, it looks like it kind of just ignored that level a little bit. So unless it kind of comes to here and slows down, I'm gonna probably look for here if it moves up. So let's play it and see where we go. Initially just guessing it's going to dip down a little bit and then jump back up. I'm going to be watching this for a market entry. This one might take a minute to get to that level. So it does look like we're starting to come up and drift up. Sometimes useful and helpful to set alerts in some instances, especially if you're trading pairs where they're a little bit wider apart. This is the AUD JPY, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So yes, it looks like it's moving up, so it looks like we're going with our plan B. You could have opted to even call this a level here as it formed. I was not really considering that too much at the time, but that would be another one of those instances where you have an in-between level, and we could have potentially taken that. So let's go ahead and mark that out about there. It may be relevant, and mark that there. I need to take care of the blue first. Mark that. That was about right there. About right there. So we're just looking at the levels. They do kind of form a pattern, but I don't want it to be represented as a grid pattern because we're not hedging or grid trading, for example. But the reason that pattern is useful is because you can literally pull levels out of thin air. When it's making new highs, new lows, you can literally predict where these levels are going to show up. And it's because they will follow a set and kind of fairly close pattern. So I'm going to wait for here, and we're going to actually opt for short and guess short out of here because I'm guessing price has been moving down. It's kind of retraced up. That's what we talked about, and I'll just look to take it back to the last low. And we are looking at our 150 pips of risk. Will be about right there. And let's play it forward and see what we can come up with. Price would get there. I would manually enter. If I was asleep, I probably would opt for a limit in this case. So we've got a little bit of time left before we reach our bedtime. Let's go ahead and mark that real fast. Boom. And we get up at 14. We'll say we overslept a little bit. We slept in 30 minutes on this one, just to make it interesting and more realistic. So we didn't get our entry before we go to bed. We set our limit in place. Let's see if we wake up with an entry. No. I'm going to go ahead and just take a manual entry there. Close enough. Now we just observe and see if it breaks the level or if the level holds. If the level holds, we hold. If the level breaks, we break. Very simple. The level's holding. We're just going to keep holding it over. And I'm going to have to move the lines here. And it does look like it's starting to move against us a little bit. Let's see what we can do. Probably might have to opt for the loss on this one. Starting to break back down, so we weren't in too bad of a shape. Still starting to move down in our favor. And we'll just opt to go to bed and not worry about it because it's near us. And we overslept again. Because we're just so tired from working. Still hovering around that level, so I'm just going to have to hang on to it. Let it ride a little bit longer. And it looks like it's just stalled completely, but it has not left the level. There's no reason to change our trade. Or come out of it. We're just hanging on. And where are we now? That would go on 1400, and let's say we finally got rested and we're going to straighten out our bedtime. Okay, so we are now in bed again, just holding this trade for a few days. Some of these pairs do take a minute to get somewhere, it would seem. I've just been kind of focused on the Euro USD for a while. Haven't really paid much attention to the other pairs. And it doesn't look like it's going our way. So, let's see, wait a little bit longer, but no, I don't think so. Oh, there it goes. Now it's popping in and came back to the level. I may have to just close it down here. Nah. Starting to run away again. So, did not come in our favor. We held on for a while, but ultimately, I am giving up right there. We're losing 44 pips. Uh-oh. We lost. Where is the right number? We're at 05. Stop just there we go. Just hope if I hit the right one. We lost 1560. Boo-hoo. We're still looking at 1,113.34. And we now have a lower hit rate than we needed, but no worries. We're still early. 25, the very last one. USDJPY. Okay, I'll change this over. Go to replay again. Random bar. And I'll say level is about there. And it looks like with this one, I'm pretty sure that's a new high. So we're going to have to figure this one out by pattern. Strong wick rejection there. Notice how it lines up on the other ones a little bit. Let's say right there. And we get something here. And something there. So let's take a long from right there. Are we on random bar? No. Okay. That would be why that is not the case. Okay. Apologies. I thought I hit it. It just did not go. Let's go right there. Let's get that one down there. Yep. Okay, let's see. So that would mean there should probably be a likely level. I'm going to wait and see if we can pull back somewhere in this area here, or even possibly to around there to take a potential long entry. Just because it looks like it's moving up. The JPY does like to move up quite a bit, but you got to watch it because it whipsaws a lot. So we have a 3 decimal pair. Let's figure out our risk. Something we should have done real quick. USD JPY. And we're looking at, I think that one we probably need about a 90. What are we looking at there? Yeah, so we could do about a 90 off of this one. Maybe just by looking at the levels, we'll go a little bit further than usual. And that will leave us with a size of 0.07. Okay. So let's have the right size on there. With commission, we're looking at 44.23 for our maximum loss. And let's see what we do. Okay, so it does look like we had the level near there. I'm going to go ahead and just opt to jump in here. We're coming up, we're below the level, but it does look like we're giving some movement above into that level. It may have been a little bit premature to jump in. Hang on for just a moment. Did we even enter? Yes, we were. Wait, when we entered. And this one has not been going our way at all at first. But I see we're still moving up overall. And just been constantly moving up for a while. So didn't even look at the date. I have kind of observed the JPY here and there, but I don't think that's going to affect us much in our trade because we're still moving up. We just had to wait on it a little while. Patience is the key. Ooh, just jumped down to where we wanted to enter before, but it didn't hit our stop. And when did that happen? 8 o'clock, right after we would have went to bed as well. So we could not have done nothing about it if we wanted to. Wonderful. Let's mark out our bedtime so we have that in order. And we are getting up at 14. And I'm thinking we may try to just hold for this next level. It's a little far, but we have such a long push and long follow up. I would pull up a higher time frame if it wouldn't mess up the replay. It should be a level here. It should be something like right in here, maybe. Let's put it right there and there. Might need one more right here. Just make that a little bit consistent looking. Just to follow our pattern, we'd probably be right there with another level because of what it typically looks like in a support and resistance level. Got quite a few lines on here, but we are scrunched down on our time frame as well so we could see our overall picture. Don't want to get caught up in 1 or 2 candles. And it's possible, looks like we're starting to move up some more, so I'm going to just opt to hold a little bit longer. We have to anyway, we're asleep. Can do nothing. And I think I'm going to close it right there just because that's an extremely nice trade. So 193.6 pips gained on that. Very short duration, much shorter than some of the others that we've dealt with. Some of those others we had to hang on to for a minute. And despite being tired, being up from 8 a.m., let's see, we made 93.77. I got quite a nice one there. So now look at what we have been doing. So you may lose a little bit here and there. It's going to happen, but eventually you turn it right back around. And even though we've only done a few trades, I know this video is getting rather long. I have to get up to trade futures in the morning. It is 1:15 a.m. I got up at 8 a.m., worked a 10-hour day, spent probably a few hours in a cooler, spent most of the day yesterday in a cooler, so I've been quite cold, quite uncomfortable, so I'm not feeling 100% the best, also plus being sick and so forth. But overall, it had nothing to do with that. It looks like our theory is holding out quite well, especially even when put with the other video. And just for the sake of saving time, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We did 5 trades. This video could go on for hours. I could continue doing this for hours and bore you to tears, doing this over and over and over again. But just by simply keeping it simple, look for a bounce off support or resistance. If the level breaks, cut it loose. Otherwise, hang on. And you just try to make more in the average win than the average loss. Keep this over 1-to-1 and you will make money, because that is where your money comes from. It's very, very simple. It's just a matter of basic statistics, and that's just elementary, my dear Watson. So I'm going to leave you with that. There are a few other topics I want to get into, but I was kind of sparked into this idea again, and I'm probably going to make a couple more like this. We could just continue this. I will save this sheet. We'll rename it here. Because it looks like most of what everyone is saying are lies. You don't need all that other stuff. We'll pick this up and do it some more if you'd like. Leave a comment down below if you definitely want to see some more of this. We could even fill this entire chart out doing exactly the same routine. Go to random.org, pull up any one of the 25. We're paying commission. We accept any spread we get, even if we're trading exotics. And we trade from the levels. We take our risk. We observe. If the level holds, we hold. If the level does not, we do not either. That is all. Target your next level. Target what it looks like in the market, kind of like what I was showing you. You can kind of look at what's going on. We may even be able to hang on to this for a little bit longer, but we'll see. Doesn't matter. We're out of the trade. We can go pick another one and do whatever. I mean, we could have won it. Yep, there we go. So we could have got the full 250 pips out of it. But we'll just wrap the video up here, and I mean, it's simple statistics, my dear Watson. It's as simple as that. So you noticed I did a full follow through. I did my job, and we made 10%, $106.66. Isn't that just the devil? So I will leave you guys with that and catch you on the next video.